Hello and welcome to session note training for registered behavior technicians at Breakthrough ABA. Today's training will focus on how to write effective, accurate, and professional session notes for direct ABA therapy sessions. These session notes are a critical part of the clinical and billing process, and this training will help you ensure that we're meeting insurance, ethical, and Breakthrough ABA standards every time. Let's start with the why. Session notes serve multiple purposes. They document what occurred during a session, demonstrate client progress, confirm that services were in fact delivered, and support medical necessity for your client's services. Your notes also play a key role in audits and billing compliance. Every word you write contributes to the clinical story we tell about our client's progress. Each session note should include these core components. This is basic information like date, time, and location, as well as who was present in the session. You must document the specific interventions used, how the client responded to those interventions, and any maladaptive behavior that occurred during the session. Include clear examples of communication, data, prompts used, and any barriers to treatment. Also, don't forget to obtain all required signatures and fully submit the note promptly within 24 hours of the session according to Breakthrough ABA policy. Next, we're going to talk about some essential narrative components. This is where you're going to write a narrative describing what happened in the session. Always remember in these sections that objective behavior analytic language is required for this documentation. First, the client response to treatment. In this section, you're going to describe how the client responded to your teaching methods, how engaged or motivated they were, and you're going to want to be specific and use only behavior analytic language. A minimum of 2 sentences is expected for this section. An example is the client remained engaged with tasks using high preference reinforcers and responded well to first then visuals and a countdown timer. That's an example of one of the 2 sentences that you would write about the client's response to treatment in a session. Avoid here saying things like the client was happy, the client responded well to treatment. You want to be more specific than that. Next is going to be the summary of the session. This part should provide a brief but comprehensive overview of the session itself. You're going to include activities that you did, maladaptive behaviors that occurred, reinforcers that were used, and any interventions that you implemented. You should write approximately 20 words for every hour of service, and each note should be unique. You should not copy and paste from prior notes. Your narrative must reflect what actually happened during that session. An example provided here is client used manding phrases such as "I want potato head" to request items, engaged in property destruction, extinction procedures were implemented, and reinforcers included coloring and playground. The next narrative components that we're going to discuss are summary of progress toward treatment goals and barriers to treatment. The summary of progress toward treatment goals section is all about data. For each goal addressed, document the client's progress, including prompt levels and percentages where applicable. Aim for a minimum of 4 sentences. You want to clearly communicate whether the client is making progress, regressing, or maintaining. Your supervisor should be able to read this and know exactly how the client is responding to the treatment plan. Next is your barriers to treatment. These can include illness, behavior, technical issues, or staffing changes, anything that interrupted or limited treatment. Be objective, factual, and use professional language here. For example, this was the client and technician's first session together, and time was spent pairing and building rapport. Avoid speculating or including personal opinions. Your notes must be clear, specific, and behavior analytic. You want to use statements like the client requested, "I want potato head to access toy." Or I used a verbal prompt for 2-step direction, close door and sit. For maladaptive behaviors specifically, you want to use exactly what you could observe or what you saw or what you experienced. You don't want to use words like client was bad or client was upset or client was mad. You want to say things like the client escalated as evidenced by attempts to scratch, hit, bite, etc. For progress, you want to provide percentages, provide actual hard data like 100% on 2-step instructions and 50% on WH commands with prompts. Avoid vague statements like client did well. Be sure to include data and prompt levels and never use subjective or judgmental language like the client was being difficult. If a maladaptive behavior occurred, it must be documented with a description of the behavior and your response. All session notes must be signed by the technician the same day services are delivered. The supervising BCBA should be listed if they were present, even for part of the session. Be sure to use the correct titles, whether it be Registered Behavior Technician RBT, Board Certified Behavior Analyst BCBA, or Board Certified Behavior Analyst Doctorate, for example. And finalize your notes promptly. Delays in finalizing your notes and submitting your session completely can result in billing issues and compliance risks. Finally, the key takeaways from this training are: remember that accuracy matters. You have to document what actually happened. You need to be timely and complete notes immediately after the session. Obtain parent signature before you leave the session or when the client's picked up from the clinic. Stay objective, use only behavior analytic language. Always protect confidentiality. Only include relevant session details and do not use names of other clients. If you're in the clinic, for example, and you're doing group, don't mention other clients. You can say same age peer. And you always want to follow the note template. Every section in this template is included for a reason. These templates are based on funder requirements. So we're not just putting sections in here that we've decided are important. It's all about what the funder needs. If you have any questions, please always reach out to your supervisor, or you can email session.audits@breakthroughaba.com. Thank you for your attention and for upholding our standards of clinical excellence.